So you remember back when Justice Kavanaugh was facing the confirmation battle, and we found out all this bad stuff about him, and they did this investigation into him. And at the time, it seemed like, wow, that was really fast and didn't seem like they investigated anything. Well, it turns out now that it was really fast and they didn't really investigate anything. And thankfully, there are some senators that are pushing for maybe a bit of a redo, considering the incredibly important lifetime appointment he got. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse is calling on the newly confirmed Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to help facilitate proper oversight by the Senate into questions about how thorough the FBI investigated Kavanaugh. The FBI was called at the time to investigate the allegations made by Christine Blasey Ford during the Senate confirmation process, but was later accused by some Democratic senators of conducting an incomplete background check. For example, 2 key witnesses, Ford and Kavanaugh, were never interviewed as part of the inquiry. Let me repeat that. Wait, let me define terms, just so that you get how important that is. So the 2 people they didn't talk to were the one who made the allegations and the one who was alleged to have done it. They didn't talk to either of those people. That's like I come home, there's toilet paper everywhere, and my dog's in the middle of it. I'm gonna look into this, but not into the toilet paper or my dog. Well, then I'm probably not gonna find out much that's gonna really bear on what actually happened there, JR.
You know what you'll do is you'll ask your wife, who's also coming home from work, and you'll be like, what happened? And she'll be like, I don't know. And you'll be like, okay, so my investigation has concluded that we don't know what happened. The witness that I asked doesn't know.
Exactly. And it goes beyond that. So among the concerns listed are allegations that some witnesses who wanted to share their accounts with the FBI couldn't find anyone at the Bureau who would accept their testimony, and that it had not assigned any individual to accept or gather evidence. I mean, that feels like all that you should need to know. They didn't have anyone who was gathering evidence in an investigation, the purpose of which is to gather evidence. Anyway, White House says this was unique behavior in my experience, as the Bureau is usually amenable to information and evidence. But in this matter, the shutters were closed, the drawbridge drawn up, and there was no point of entry by which members of the public or Congress could provide information to the FBI. So they didn't talk to anyone involved in this. Anyone who wanted to come in and provide information found that there was no one to provide it for. This is not a background check. And this was used, by the way, JR, as part of the, hey, he's been cleared, it's cool to vote for him now.
This is the whole, like, you guys came for Kavanaugh, and then we looked into it. It's the credible evidence has been put forward about what actually happened. It should be clear. Anybody who complains about this further is now just trying to smear this guy because you just hate him and you hate the politics and the policies of Donald Trump and what Mitch McConnell did with the last Supreme Court nomination under Obama. So you push all that as your legitimate reasoning for why you went this route. You come to find out all your legitimate reasoning was based off of BS. And it was and planned. This wasn't accidental. It wasn't like, oh, we overlooked it. Oh, we forgot. Oh, we didn't realize that witnesses were a thing that could come to us. All those things are can't be based in any kind of reality. You can watch any kind of ridiculous a crime show and know that if a witness comes forward, I do think that the police want to know about it, even if it ends up not being credible. You think they just don't talk to people before they come in because they just know they're not going to be credible? Doesn't make any sense, man. They always put out like rewards and Crime Stoppers. If you have any evidence, come forward, come talk to us. They want people to come talk. Why is it in this situation they didn't want anyone to come talk? It's so weird. It's like they're not the police.
Yeah. Probably an important time to remind people that it is part of the Constitution that a Supreme Court justice could be impeached if it turns out that the process that put them in was incredibly fraudulent. And it was designed not only, by the way, and perhaps most importantly, to shield him from all of the potential sexual assault charges and all of that, but also the financial charges, because I don't want to go into the entire thing once again, but a bunch of his debts sort of disappeared in the run up to him becoming a judge. And everyone just sort of forgot about that. So this wasn't actually looked into. So it at base has to be looked into and potentially could be used as a rationale to impeach him. Now, this doesn't generally happen. It hasn't happened in hundreds of years, but it's not impossible, especially considering that, as Mimosa Dragon pointed out on Twitch, they looked into him the way Tucker Carlson looked into Q. They couldn't even find Kavanaugh's website.
Hey, so I'm just curious, John. What's your level of, I guess, belief that this would actually come up with anything where they would then say, hey, we need to do something about this. We need to look into the confirmation of Kavanaugh, and if they're going to impeach him, all those things that you said are possibilities. What do you think is the
I don't think
potential for that to happen? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they could find out that he'd, like slaughtered dozens of women, throughout the 70s in the Pacific Northwest, and they wouldn't impeach him. The Republicans wouldn't. They'd probably start a GoFundMe for him actually and give him some sort of coffee sponsorship. Yeah. But anyway, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't know. We should know what these people have done. Like they are among the most powerful individual people in the entire world. We should understand who they are and what they've done. If for no other reason that the people who made the accusations want people to know what happened. They deserve that respect, and investigation is a show of respect.
Honestly, and it's why the angry PR battle over this would make this not go further, because it would almost be wrongfully embarrassing for anyone to bring this up and then say we're gonna have to go through the impeachment process because of what happened during this confirmation. Because during all that, they fought so hard and said, look at all these fraudulent, meaningless charges that you have against him. If you bring it up again now, they're gonna be like, look, they're back again. You can ignore the facts as long as you keep going with the emotional response that you already built up throughout this whole thing. I mean, Lindsey Graham screaming at the confirmation hearings and stuff. So all that's gonna be remembered. The facts are always the things that are quickly forgotten.
Yeah. As Virgie Verge points out, the only good thing to come from that entire process was that SNL sketch. Anyway, with an amazing portrayal of Lindsey Graham.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.